What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Poppitt's Corner. And today is a doozy. I'm looking forward to this specific one just because I was there when it was happening, and I'm still here after it has happened. But of course, before we get into this specific topic at hand, which we will tell you about, I want to welcome my good buddy, Mr. Shannon Fry of Avenger of Blood. How you doing today, sir? Thanks so much for coming on and hanging.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me again, man. Always a good time.
Always a pleasure, my man. So why don't you explain kind of what's going on with this specific episode for the listeners and watchers of this?
Yeah, so we decided to list our top 5 debut new wave of thrash metal albums, debut albums. So
Absolutely. And we'll probably get to the I thought you were going to say traditional, but
I
we'll
almost
get to the traditional. We'll probably get to that eventually, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll probably get to that eventually, right?
right.
Top 5 debuts of traditional heavy metal bands for the new wave. But I wanted to focus on an era that I always feel just deserves to be talked about more. This just because maybe I was involved in it with it a little bit more than say most, and you as well. Unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, being unfairly or fairly lumped into it. But if you're ready, man, I'd love to get started and just talk about some. We'll have some honorable mentions after our top 5. But why don't you go ahead first and start with your, well, maybe not in a specific order, but just give me one of your picks in the top 5.
Right on. Okay, yeah, because I don't have these in any order, and I was gonna make that known. But okay, my first pick is Fueled by Fire, Spread the Fire from 2007. Yeah, it's just an awesome album, man. At first, it took me a while to get into it, but as time went on, I started liking it more and more and more.
Now,
And it was kind of a fresh attitude towards the old school. You know what I
now,
mean?
now, did you like the lyrical content on this, or
Yeah,
did you
it
just
was
focus
what it
more on the
was.
music? Okay.
I was more into the music of all this stuff. The lyrical content, it's good if that's what they're into. If not, hey, cool too. I mean, but when you're young and agile, none of it matters.
Absolutely. Well, the reason why I'm kind of asking you this is, where, and going in off of this point is where were you when you kind of first heard this specific album in question? Because everybody has a story, it seems like, on the Spread the Fire release, because it was kind of the first one to like kick open the gates, as it were, at least signed to a major label, one of the first to be released on a major label. So where were you at in terms of hearing this for the first time?
I don't quite understand.
Where were you? Do you remember hearing it for the first time? Were you sitting in your car and it just came on the radio,
Oh,
or did you, I don't know, like where, I was just curious because everybody has a story
oh yeah. I
with
had
this
the C.
specific.
I got the CD. I got the CD and jammed it out. You know, like anyone else at the time. For me, anyway. Okay, right. I got the CD and jammed it out. Put it away for a while. Eh, Eventually, I'd bring it back out, and then I started catching it.
Okay, so it wasn't like you saw it in a record store or like
Yeah, I got the CD. I seen it in a record store. I got the CD.
did
Yeah.
and at this specific juncture, in your life, where you're like, what the fuck is this?
No, no,
Because
no.
okay,
Because we were already playing. We were already doing it. So hearing it from a different angle is what the way I was looking at it.
and were you connected online first, so you knew the band name, and then saw the album in
Oh
a
yeah,
in a store
yeah,
or
yeah,
something? Okay.
yeah, yeah. We were all on MySpace together, and we interacted, but we never played too many shows with them. They never came out here much. We never went there much. Our paths just really didn't cross too much. But they were a really good band, man. Really cool
Absolutely.
dudes. Really cool dudes.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna branch off this point because this is the first that I have to show, and mine this is definitely is one of my favorites. because of maybe some reasons that I mentioned earlier, this was the first album that I was aware of, became aware of on a major label, and I remember hearing it on Sirius satellite radio when it was like brand spanking new. Remember when Sirius, right, it was like the new thing, and they, they didn't have the same format as regular radio with the same 50 songs like they do now. So their format was way different, and they played and took chances on bands like this. And when I heard it, I ran into my dad's office because I was working with him at the time. I was about 16, I think, because I think this is 2006. So maybe I was 15, 16 at the time. Anyway, I digress. Went in there and I was like, holy shit, these guys they're from LA. Like they're, like we can go see them at any time, and they're playing them on Sirius. So I just thought that was like the coolest thing to me. So anyway, with that in mind, it was like this brings back a lot of good memories for me, and I just love the album so much. So there you go. That's my first choice.
Right on. So my next choice is a band named Head On Collision from St. Louis, Missouri. They released an album in 2008 called Ritual of Sacrifice. It was on the label called Beer City Records. It's kind of ironic, beer, so, But anyway, thrash beer, get it. But anyway,
that's the same label as Millions of Dead Cops. I think Beer City
right.
released a couple of their records too. So
yeah.
Now tell me a little bit more on this specific band, if you don't mind.
Okay. When I got to know them, they were a three-piece band, and they were a lot like an American version of Sodom, I guess. Very Sodom-esque. But they were really it was fast, it was catchy, it was very catchy. The guitarist, Pat McCauley was his name, played guitar and did the vocals, and then they had a drummer and a bass player. But man, they were just right. They were just perfect to me. They were at the right place at the right time, and they were amazing. But yeah, basically there was kind of a Bay Area tinge about it, kinda like an Exodus, but more along the lines of Sodom and Tankard, I guess, kind of intertwined between those three. Yeah, it was really cool, very heavy, really catchy, a lot of groove and beats.
I like it. I like it. So, were you friends with these guys, or
Yeah.
did you just kind of hear? Okay, cool. So there's
Yeah,
a connection there.
I met the singer guitarist at one of the festivals we played in Minneapolis. He was there as a fan, like we all were really. But anyway, I met him there, and we started talking, and he was telling me about the band. And the next year, he was playing at that festival as well. So I got to witness it live too, and it was well worth it. They should have been more known than they are, but they didn't really have a lot of publicity and stuff at the time.
Well, did they release a lot of records, or was it just like a one and done kind of deal?
This was a one and done. Yeah, it was a one and done. But they're not really broken up. It doesn't say that they've split up, and I haven't talked to the guy in a while. So maybe they're still around, but it's just this one album. But it is a debut album,
True, a one and done.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Very cool. So, I'm going to take us on a little journey here, if you don't mind, for my next pick. Real quick story. I know I love telling stories on here. It's just so much fun. But so around 2012, Madrost had released our first album, Maleficent, and we did our first tour. Around I guess Texas and Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada. Funny enough, so beforehand, our bassist at the time was from Texas. His name was Mark, and he knew these guys. Of course, now I can say the band name. The band is called Incinerator, and the album is called Stalagmite of Ice, which is kind of funny. It came out 10 years ago this year, so so they knew each other. He showed me this specific band, and I was like, "This is fucking awesome!" Right? We do the tour, and they played Fort Worth, Texas, like right underneath us. So it was them, and then us, and then the tour package, rest of the tour package. And beforehand, I was like, dude, can you please play Sabretooth? Because it's like my favorite song from this album. It fucking rules. It's the total. And when I interviewed Chris from Incinerator, it was like that it was written because they of their love of Pleasures of the Flesh from Exodus. So that song is just very reminiscent of Pleasures of the Flesh. And I can kind of hear it now, but the song rules. I still enjoy it to this day. And but anyway, they played the song, so I was very grateful for that, and we just became friends ever since. But this album fucking smokes, dude. I mean, it's total speed, total just fucking adrenaline, and you could tell they're really young doing it. This album does not have any reverb on the vocals, so the vocals are a little dry, but it just works so well with the rest of the overall vibe of the album. Like, it doesn't ruin it for me. So with that in mind, this is Stalagmite of Ice. Go get it.
Nice. All right, my next choice is, I believe this band is from Norway, but they're called Blood Tsunami. The album is called Grand Feast for Vultures. It was released in 2009. Man, this is one of those that when you hear it, it sends that shiver up your spine because it's just so intense and brutal. And that's what caught me to this band. And I couldn't stop listening to this album for a while. And yeah, man, the guitars are razor sharp, the vocals are razor sharp, but the way they combine, it's like a more of a black metal style on the vocal range, but it's just so intense that it and then I don't they're a style of their own to me. They borrow and take from everything, but they're their own. They're their own style.
And now I got to ask you this about this specific band. You know, I know there's a famous member in it from another band. I believe it's the drummer.
Remember. No,
is it the drummer that I'm thinking of? I thought it was the drummer. Anyway, but he's from another band, and I can't remember what the band is called, but this is kind of like his side thing at the time. This band was the band you're talking about. It was kind of pretty popular around this specific time period, I want to say. They haven't done much lately, I don't think. I mean, that's a band I hadn't heard in like probably 5-6 years. So
I think Faust from Emperor ended up joining this band. Maybe is that the band you're thinking?
I think that I can't even
there,
remember. I can't remember at this point, dude.
It's been a while, but I know he was not on this album. I know that much. This was before he was released, I think. But
Oh,
yeah,
cool, good choice, dude. That's a name I hadn't heard in a long time. Right on, man. Well, third choice for me, we're gonna go to yeah, let's do it. We're gonna go to Chicago. I know this isn't a popular choice with everybody else, but fuck it, it's my list, so who cares, anyways. The band, of course, is Diamond Plate, Generation Y. I feel this is the closest vocalist to my specific style. I don't know why. I just always have felt that way, but you know, he's got more of like a hardcore tinge to his voice, John Masick. And I just really love this specific album. They turned into a 4-piece with it. The riffs are just super razor sharp. It sounds like an Exodus record, but maybe Tempo of the Damned era, and it just fucking rules. So Diamond Plate, they rule, and I'm sad that this is the only album with John Masick on vocals, because yeah, there you go. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So go get it.
that was a good album. That was a good album. All right, my next one is going to Japan for this. It's a band named King's Evil. The album's called Deletion of Humanoids. It was released in 2001. And this is, man, it's violent, it's aggressive. They're the vocals are similar to that of a deeper Thomas from At the Gates, a little deeper, a little more harsh, I would say, but it fits so well. And the accent that's on top of it that you can hear is like, yeah, it just makes it more aggressive, you know?
Awesome.
Amazing band, amazing band.
Now, are they more of the black metal side? Are they more of the death metal side, or just straight speed metal? Is it? I don't know anything about this specific band. Never heard of them. So, I mean, how did you discover them?
I heard them on, how did I hear them? Maybe I heard them on a compilation or something. I'm not sure. But well, upon hearing it, I became like fanatical kind of about it. Right? But it's kind of death metally vocally, but thrash musically. Everything is super tight. Everything is oh, like the drums are fast and they sound great. A lot of downbeats, a lot of really aggressive riffs. Yeah,
Very cool.
I don't know. So
Absolutely.
if you were to like make Exodus heavier, a lot heavier,
What
that's
era of
King Debo.
Exodus?
Uh, like mixed bonded and the later stuff, like um,
Okay. So like the Atrocity A and B and era.
yeah. Mix
Okay.
that with the first album.
Okay. That'd be an interesting mix because they're both heavy for their specific times, their specific
Yeah.
eras and whatnot. So very cool, man. Okay, so we're gonna go to the Bay Area this time around. This is probably my only Bay Area pick, but I just love it so much. This is one of those bands that they have the band name, song title, and album title all the same, like a metal church, metal church, metal church. You know, this is Fog of War. Um, I just absolutely love this. This is the debut album with Fog of War. If you can see it right there. All right, there you go. Super speedy. It's just totally thrash. I think even the inside of this, which I will show, because it's just so goofy. I don't know why bands did this at the time, but if you could see, it's a pizza, right? Right, like so. There's a tray for it. It's like it's just so goofy, but it's a great record. If you can find it, I highly recommend this. The title track alone, the first song, it's just awesome. It'll just wake you up, right?
Right on. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I didn't even know that about that album, the pizza. That's funny. All right. Well, my next pick is a band called War Beast from Texas. Their first album was called Crush the Enemy, released in 2010. This one featured members of Rigor Mortis, Bruce Corbett on vocals, rest in peace, and one of the guys from Gamacide. Um, they started off as more of an all-star thrash band to raise money for one of their friends, and it turned into a different animal altogether. And they were signed to Phil Anselmo's label,
Housecore
Housecore.
Records.
Right. So that's a little background on them, but musically, it's just great, just southern thrash. There's the groove, that Texas groove about it. But there's that anger that Texans have. Everything about it screams Texas. But it's oh man, it's so good. It's just so good.
That is a great record. Um,
Yeah,
I'm sad that he was always one of my favorite vocalists in thrash metal in general. Was Bruce.
yeah,
Super unique, dude. And Rigor
yeah,
Mortis to me, to this day, that debut album rules.
yeah,
Like one of the
yeah.
best all time ever.
And he was proud of this too. He was so proud of this album, Bruce was, because this was his chance to come back again as a vocalist because he wasn't in rigor mortis anymore, and his other projects he was doing wasn't working out, and he got this going, and just this turned into his baby.
They released several great albums even after that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Until his untimely passing. Dude, but even then, Rigor Mortis fucking released a great fucking album in the tens as well. I loved that.
Right. Me too.
That album ruled, dude. So
Right.
he released a
And
lot
that's
of
where
great
he
stuff.
belonged. That's where he belonged. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
he
he
fit War Beast like a perfect glove, but I mean, this isn't about the old school releasing
true,
new albums, right? In the current
right?
day. So, I really can't talk too much about rigor mortis, but, you know, I guess this War Beast is definitely close second to rigor mortis.
Absolutely. Not taking any credit away from that. I'm just saying he released a lot of great records in the tens up until his passing.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, just super unique vocals as well. But great choice, man. That's a great choice.
Thank you.
Um, that's funny. I'm like picking all like the young bands. You got all like the old guys that were
Yeah.
in that formed new projects in the new thrash wave. So um, all right. So I can't have a new wave of thrash without having this album in it. I know there's been debate on if they, you know, fall into this category here. They don't, in my opinion, but a lot of people lump them in. But I got to go with Vector's Black Future. I absolutely love this album. Every song rules. Total masterpiece. Total game changer, and it rules. So go pick it up. This was released in 2009, and it is a heavy artillery pressing. So, but if you could find this, go pick it up. Again, Vector. Um, so yeah,
Awesome.
there
All
you
right,
go.
my next pick is from Greece. They're called Suicidal Angels. This album's called Eternal Domination, released in 2007. This is the most violent album in thrash I think I've ever heard to this day. It's I used to hold signs. This is a funny story. I used to hold
Okay.
signs that lead to new housing development offices, so you can buy a brand new being built house to your own specifications and what have you, right?
Mhm.
So I would hold signs and spin signs and whatever to get people to go to buy these houses. And during the shift, they want you to listen to music. So I would listen to the Suicidal Angels album, on repeat because it was so fast and so aggressive, and it just keeps you awake, keeps you spinning that sign. So that's my story behind it. But yeah, man, violent, extremely violent. The vocals are of the black metal nature. They're young, young, young dudes though, and but razor sharp vocals, razor sharp riffs. Some of it does kind of sound samey after a while, but once you get past that, that doesn't even matter, man. This stuff's just so good. So,
Absolutely, man. Well, dude, so before we get out of here, I have a lot of honorable mentions that I couldn't put in my top. So I'm just gonna start showing them off and kind of giving some history on you know, other types of compilations that were kind of put out during the time this era, and hopefully you can have some insight on it as well. But if you don't mind, I'd like to share a couple of these and hopefully educate some people on some more releases to check out from this era. But those are all great picks, man. One pick that I want that I don't physically own but is a band called National Suicide, and the album is called The Ode to the Family. Fucking rules, dude. That
I've
album
heard
is
that.
just epic.
Yeah.
They sound like Overkill. The
Hmm.
vocalist sounds like Bobby Blitz.
Yeah, he
So
does.
so anyway, so here are my honorable mentions. I literally just got this like 5-6 days ago, 4, 5, 6 days ago. Really enjoying this. This is Avenger of Blood's first album. This might be my favorite of your guys' career so far. Um, so yeah, I just love this album. It's so fucking raw and vicious and just long and and just
Raw.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I just my only complaint of it, I told you off the air, but I'll say it. I have balls to say it. I'm not a fan of the album cover. I just think it's so traditional to a metal album cover. I thought you guys could do way better. So there you go. There's my there's one of my picks. Hopefully you can,
My
you know,
feelings are not hurt whatsoever. That's the
um,
album we're re-recording.
right
That's
as
the
we
album
speak
we're
or whatever.
re-recording. Yes, yes.
But the original is like hard to get, so I'm glad I got a chance to grab it before they goes up in $1,000 or whatever. I don't want to pay for that. So um so this is a band out of Arizona. This is the Abiotics. This is Straight to Hell. This is more of a punk thrash album, but I still feel it falls into that category. Saw them at the Joint, and they opened for Incinerator and Condition Critical. It was awesome, dude.
Wow.
I think there was only 2 people there, and I was one of the 2, so that was a great show. And
Wow.
yeah, right. All right. Another one to start it off. This is Warbringer. This is War Without End. Just had to mention that one too because I dig this one as well. The Mighty Witch Haven, right, with Terror Storm. Ooh, I don't know how this one didn't make my list, but it's making it now. This is Mantic Ritual with Executioner. This album fucking rules, dude. Rules. So, oh yeah, this is the first. So another one. This is the first album to feature Richard, the great Richard Oriana. If you know that specific name, you know he obviously plays with us in Madras now. And this is Tormentor with Pulse of Terror. Really dig this record. It's got a lot of like oh, that riff is from so and so, that riff is from so and so, but it's just so youth injected that it doesn't even matter. I just really enjoy it for what it is. And the Mighty Hexen with State of Insurgency. Only reason why this one didn't make it in my specific list was because I just loved the second one so much, but this one's good one too. So there you go. Those are my honorable mentions, and now I got a lot of shit to show. So bear with me.
Cool.
So this is a compilation that Earache put out. This is Thrashing Like a Maniac. And remember when I told you about Fog of War? Well, this one has the same thing. I don't know what it was about like, pizza and everything else, but there you go, right? Capitalize on the pizza, Thrash.
It's because of the age,
right? Well, this is Speed Kills. This features a lot of bands that we know and possibly playing, right? Warbringer, Toxic Holocaust, Enforcer. Although Enforcer, I put more of a speed metal kind of band, but
traditional heavy metal. Yeah.
Well, it's called Speed Kills for a reason, but obviously Avenger of Blood and Merciless Death. So there you go.
I like the 2 songs that we did on that.
Me too. Some of my
really
favorites
like
that
them.
you ever did.
I think so too. Except the guitar tone wasn't right. That's the only thing I'm gonna say. Guitar tone wasn't right, but that's my own opinion. The songs themselves are bitchin' ass.
Enemy Attack. Yeah, that's a great. Those songs didn't make any albums per se, huh? Did the label kind of want you just to like bring in fresh new things for the Speed Kills compilation?
This was right before we signed with them.
Gotcha.
So we recorded the 2 songs. He put that on there. Then we signed the deal. Then that was real. Sorry, we signed the deal. We recorded those 2 songs. Then we signed the deal. Then that was released, and then Death Brigade was released.
Gotcha. Well, it's like I said, if you can find a copy, go pick it up. It's I'm
I like
gonna
it.
I like it a lot too.
Yeah.
I'm assuming with all these like compilation and releases and stuff, I mean, some of these are hard to find now. I only can imagine in 20 years or something, you know? So that's why you got to pick it up while you can, people. And then the last thing I'm going to mention is Storm Spell kind of put out these like compilations. I don't know if you remember these, but like this one has like, Taking Over, Phantom Witch. This one has, Diamond Plate and Oppression. This has Olaf on vocals, and he went on to Enforcer, right? This is Blood Exile, and so Crawford. I can't even pronounce the other band, so I apologize for butchering it. This in Infantry. This was like a couple members of Witch Haven was in this. So, but yeah, they put out all those compilations and whatnot, and I'm a collector of that stuff. So there you go. But Shannon, any last parting words before we get out of here?
No. Thanks for having me again. It was a good time. The Thrash list.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll have to have another excuse to do it all again soon, my man. But for another episode of Poppitt's Corner, I'm out of here, guys. Cheers.